afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Today on the program, we'll be visiting some of our neighbors in northern New England. We're going to get a sampling of gardens in coastal New Hampshire and Maine. Our tour guide is a frequent contributor to Across the Fence. I want to welcome back Leonard from UVM Extension and the Department of Plant and Soil Sciences. Thanks so much for being with us.
Great to be back, Judy.
Now, you have a lot of great pictures to share with us today from a garden tour that you led last year, and we're going to also talk about a tour for this year, but where are we going to be touring today?
Okay, we'll start with the tour last year and then end the show, and we'll talk about this coming year to Rhode Island. But we'll go to New Hampshire and Maine. Last year, as each year, I do about a 3-day overnight trip, and it's in collaboration with the King's Garden at Fort Ticonderoga. And last year we saw some great gardens in New Hampshire and along the Maine seacoast. So we'll take a look at those. Go to a little bit warmer place and time now.
Excellent. Where are we going to start?
Okay, let's start on day one of our trip, which was in New Hampshire, and we actually visited a grower and a couple of gardens along the coast. Now, a lot of people may not know the name Pleasant View Gardens. They're in Loudon, near Concord, New Hampshire, but they're the ones that grow the proven winners and proven selections. The ones you buy around here actually start at these greenhouses. They're a huge one. They're one of the originators of that program. They have some incredible display gardens, which mainly for growers, but we got a special tour of those on the tour. And here you see some of the new varieties in there in these baskets stuck on posts. I'm going to try that this year.
That's
Get
a great
some
idea.
Pipes and posts and mount them on top of that. I thought that was just great. And the Supertunia series of petunias is a fairly new one, but there are about 30 different ones. This is a new one for this year, honey, which we got to see, of course, last year, but great, all that mix of colors in there. I think that's awesome. I'm going to look for that this year. And this was kind of a neat idea. It's kind of like a raised long planter or window box without the window, but just a pink petunia lined up, and then that's a Pennisetum, the Vertigo, which is one of theirs. It's just very vigorous plant. If people have grown it and know in the gardens, but that's just a very simple but nice combination. This is great too, to get ideas for window boxes, these fake windows.
You
don't need a house, just put a fake window up with some window boxes, and but showing how you match the colors, and there are just so many different plants. You can do that, match the trim of the house. Group, and I really like these. They're kind of like Christmas trees.
Yeah.
So they're frames with chicken wire and sphagnum moss holding the media inside, and all these plants planted in there, and you can see in the front contrasting colors and similar and colors toward the back. We'll take a close look at just that one, just to see 3 of the different ones. Again, the Supertunia line of their petunias, the Vista series, which is a fairly new one too, but these are all great ones. We've had them in our waterfront gardens down at the Burlington Waterfront Bubblegum, which is one of my favorites. I'm not really a pink person, but that light pink, it's really a good performer. And then Fuchsia, the dark one, and then Silverberry, which tends to spread nicely. That's the whitish one. This was a great combination. This is Egyptian papyrus. You can actually, yes, grow that. It stands up well. It doesn't need staking, even though it gets 4 to 5 feet tall.
Wow.
It's done great down at our waterfront gardens. If you don't like it that tall, get Little Tut. That's a smaller version. But here, just in a pot, again, with that Vista Bubblegum petunia, just a very simple container planting you might have by the door. Some other ideas by a patio. I thought this was great, how they matched the containers to the chairs. Like on the left, you see that bright orange chair, and then kind of orange and yellow. On the right, that yellow Adirondack chair with some yellows. And let's take a look at that middle one there, which is just 3 herbs. You have the variegated sage, you have some thyme spilling over, and then in the center, a lavender plant. So something great, some aroma right, on a patio. You could use some in cooking. Hanging baskets, just again a nice arbor, and showing what you can do and how some of these perform with that, just there at Pleasant View Gardens. Something new they had started last year were some raised beds, and these are all herbs, just very simple ones. Again, an idea you could take home, put some herbs in around a patio, plant some thyme in between those stones. I thought this was a great idea. I haven't got around to making one of those yet, but I thought it was really neat, kind of a stepped up raised bed affair. Never seen one quite like it with vegetables in it. So again, some great ideas. there at Pleasant View Gardens. Now moving on to the seacoast, we visited two. Rye is right on the ocean. It's about 100 yards from this garden, which was a former estate Fuller Gardens, and they're mainly known for their roses. So here you see our group wandering around some of the roses, and then they have a more formal rose area as well. Again, a lot of some historic varieties and some All-America rose selections. Nice perennial border around that rose area with a lot of beautiful plants. This was about the first part of August, so you can kind of see the color and get a feel. They had a shady area with a Japanese garden, woodland garden, a little water feature there, and a little bridge. And then you see espalier, fruit espalier. We'll see another one of those, but again, something you saw more in the past, but still, even to this day, it's something if you have a small space. Former cold frame by the greenhouse, they just filled with these dahlias. And I thought this was just gorgeous. I can imagine having those and cutting them. And then look inside the greenhouse, just take a little look there. A lot of great tropical plants inside there, succulents and cactus and all kinds of things. So you could really spend some time just in this little greenhouse there at Fuller Gardens. And then finally in New Hampshire, on that first day, we looked at Prescott Park, which is right downtown Portsmouth. Great city to visit, and great gardens if you're there. And here you see in the foreground Dusty Miller, the red celosia in the center, and on the right an amaranth, early splendor is that variety. There's several of these. I know a lot of people on the terrace said, "What is that plant?" You know, it looks kind of like a poinsettia in a way, but it is an amaranth. And then Prescott Park really has two parts. It has these formal display gardens, which are just lovely. Good place to sit in the shade, just listen to the water. A lot of people take photographs in there, formal photography. And then next to it is more open area, and this is an All-America Selections display garden, like we have at Burlington Waterfront. In the back, you see the harbor, and looking across that to the Maine side. So again, you see the setting is just lovely there, and a lot of massing of plants, so you can see a whole group, and a lot of the newer varieties too. So
that's wonderful. It's a great selection, and it was great to see where our local plants come from too. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's always nice. People you just think maybe local growers, but a lot of these start their life somewhere else. And the Proven series, it's always fun to see where they really start their life.
All right, let's head on to Maine.
Okay, we'll go to Maine. We actually spent 2 nights in Portland, and we went up the coast there and saw a couple gardens on the second day, which we'll take a look at. One was actually this place, which is Plainview Gardens. It's a great perennial nursery. Known these people for years. They've been in business, but you can see their display gardens in front. Just gorgeous, nice combinations of some evergreens too. And here's a great combination, just so many of these. Just wanted to show one, the Stokes aster, the purplish one there, the purplish cone flower, reddish purple, and then in the back the blue balloon flower. So again, just something simple, an idea you could bring home, and that's what a lot of these tours are about, getting ideas of combinations and new plants. This is one of the new hydrangeas called Limelight. Kind of comes out white, but turns that chartreusey color, and it's one of the hardier ones, so a lot of people, some of the newer ones aren't quite as hardy. This is a daylily, which I wanted to show. It's part of the Chicago series. They've been around a while, but shows you don't have to always be the brand new things. This actually came out in 1981. It's still one of the best dark red daylilies, called Apache, Chicago Apache. I thought this shed was great. I just had to show this. It must have taken a lot of time to make sure no angles really were the same, and no, like, all kind of different askew. But it, was built to be that way. It didn't look like it was falling down, but it's really fun. And then walking through at Plainview Gardens there in North Yarmouth, wonderful display gardens. You can see all the hostas, but a lot of other shade plants, all very well labeled. There, and this is one of the ground covers I saw there. Never seen one quite. And new to this plant, the bunchberry. It's a native plant. It's a cornus related to dogwood, but there you see it growing in a whole mass with the berries, again, 1st of August, and a little close-up inset there, and that's why it's called bunchberry, because they're all bunched up in the center, but beautiful bright red. Just great. And here's a looking glass bugloss, and this is actually a sport of one that's not quite as silver, called Jack Frost, that came out first. But again, just a great example of a plant for shade that brightens up shade.
Well, I just have to ask you, do people on your tour get a chance to shop?
They do, Judy. We make sure, and this was one of the places they shopped at. But moving along to the next place, we didn't really shop too much except for the gift shop, but this was one of the highlights. It was a coastal Maine Botanic Gardens. They had a sculpture display there this year in Boothbay, Maine. And there you see a patio with flagstones. They used a lot of the native rock around there since it is near the Maine coast. There's a lot of rock, a lot of mass plantings like the rudbeckia in the foreground, the echinacea or coneflower in the background. I wanted to show a couple of these that have been really good performers in my own trials. Magnus coneflower, whole mass of that. That's one of the older varieties, but still one of the better ones. And one of the newer ones, Sombrero Salsa Red. Bright red, has fire engine red with the white on the back side of the petals. Really great contrast. I didn't know this one. It's a tumbleweed onion, an allium, but I thought that looked kind of neat, like fireworks coming out. But you see all these on the tour, neat plants. One of the new purple sages, and a cross actually between a foxglove and a plant from the Canary Islands called berry canary. So it's called a tender foxglove since it's not really hardy, but it's a great annual. Again, the coastal Maine Gardens, they have a lot of beautiful display beds, water features. You can walk around. Combinations like the sedum, the lamb's ears, and the balloon flower again, just all intergrowing there. And then a beautiful kids garden there. That's one of their, at least must be an acre or so, and you see the little kids' houses, and even with a rooftop grass garden. And they're up with the times. That's a pollinator garden there to show kids about the importance of pollinators.
So it sounds like you had a full day. You were at Boothbay, and this is 2 days on your tour?
Actually 3 days.
Okay.
And so we finished up. We had people had the chance to do some shopping at Ella Bean or eat out in Portland. But then the next day we finished up. We saw actually a greenhouse and a couple other great gardens, and then finished up with a real special one. So we'll take a look at those.
Okay.
And this was one called Snug Harbor Farm, which was I didn't know about before in Kennebunk, but an idea there. They had some really creative things. A new use for new garbage cans. You know, you can make water gardens or planters with these. I thought that was pretty neat. A lot of succulents, they're still very popular. They had a great selection there at Snug Harbor Farm. People are in the area, that's a great place to visit. Of course, many know Stonewall Kitchens for the food products. They have some wonderful gardens at their store at York, Maine, too, which were just well worth a visit. Great place to eat. And finally, the private garden of garden designer Jill Nooney in Lee, New Hampshire. Just take a few pictures of that. It's just very extensive. A lot of great design. You see some use of lines here and white. And she has a lot of sculptures she makes, like this bug here, all out of recycled materials like car parts. Thought that with those sedums in the background looked really kind of almost prehistoric. A sculpture in the wood she had made. And then this was kind of neat. It was an old use of a former power conductor there. Right, but it's white and silver, again, to brighten up the shady areas. Use of ventilation ducts in the background for sculpture. So again, with this labyrinth. So some really creative ideas at Bedrock Gardens. Formal garden there up near the house, and another one right by the house, the patio with these blue kind of ceramic balls there. And then another use of blue, these pots stuck around. This is an idea if you have a slope.
That's easy.
Just, junipers, a mass, or it could be Russian cypress, raised area, and that's espalier fruit, again in the background like we were seeing before. A meadow planting, again with some ornaments there, and a gazebo in the background, a Japanese garden at Bedrock Gardens, a sculpture. She has several arches around that she had made there. And there's the group. We travel on a nice bus like that. There's Jill talking to the group, and our co-host, Charlie Nardozzi, that goes with me on these trips.
All right, well, tell me about this year's trips, because now I'm ready.
Okay, you're ready? Well, actually, it's about half full already. We're going June 24th through 26th to Rhode Island, to Gardens of Newport. And we're going to see the Newport Flower Show, 4 oceanfront mansions, Green Animals Topiary Garden, perennial nursery again where people can buy plants. So that's a great place and a great trip. It should be a lot of fun. And to learn more about that and get registration information, as well as a couple of other shopping trips we mentioned in Vermont. Now we have one in May and one in August, and those those are open. People are registering now. You can go to my website, perrysperennials.info. Links are right website up there and links to the tours. So all the more details, registration information, and hopefully we can fill those again and a lot of people can join us again.
That's wonderful. About how many people can go?
We have a full bus usually, which is about 54, 55. And like I say, they've been filling recent years and very popular. And so now we'd like to offer several. So we have the day trips, and these are first in Vermont. And this is a first down to the Newport area too. So we've had some great requests, and tend to do a drive-through and know a lot of these places and visited them last spring, and they're just great.
And also too, we should mention there's all kinds of other information on your website as well. People have questions about plans.
Exactly, and we have actually pictures from some of these previous tours and previous years so people can see where we've gone, and just a lot more information as well in the articles.
I'm ready for summer.
Yeah, seeing that I am too.
Thanks, Leonard.
Yeah.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.